Hello guys, I'm Christopher from GizChina Germany, today with a review of Jiayu's newest flagship phone, the Jiayu S3. This is the basic version of the phone without NFC support and only 2 GB of RAM. I tested this device for 2 weeks. Now I want to show you or tell you what are my thoughts about this phone. I will tell you something about the specs in advance. We have a Mediatek MT6752 SoC, which is an Octa-Core chipset supporting 64-bit and LTE clocked at 1.7 GHz, and a competitor to the Qualcomm Snapdragon 615, but a little more powerful than the Qualcomm SoC. As I said, 2 GB of RAM, one 5.5-inch 1080p IPS OGS screen. We have 16 GB of internal memory, Android 4.4.4 KitKat with a Lollipop update coming sometimes in the next months, and we also have a 13 megapixel Sony IMX214 rear camera, which is promising quite a decent image quality. And we also have a 3100 mAh battery, which is quite a lot. So let's see what comes with the phone. Everything that comes with it is here. First, the box, the phone, one battery. I have 2 batteries, but you usually get 1 battery, 1 charger, 2 user manuals, one in English, that's the original one. This one is from the German supplier that shipped me the phone, and 1 micro USB cable. As for the packaging, I'm not all that impressed. Jiayu usually build high quality devices, but often their packaging lacks this high quality, and it's the case here again as well. It doesn't live up to the device itself. The main reason for this is that the sticker on the rear, which shows the specifications of the phone, has a few mistakes on it, which isn't all that nice. It, for example, says 64 bits. It should say 64-bit, of course, without the S. Then it says 3000 mAh battery. Well, this is a 3100 mAh battery. And it also says the screen has a resolution of 1200 by 1080 pixels, which of course isn't true. The real resolution is 1920 by 1080 pixels. So not all that nice, and I wish that they fix that with the future devices that get shipped from now on. So let's have a look at the design of the phone. Let me put away all that stuff. So this is how it looks. I have the black version, there also is a white version available. The front always is black. As you can see, we have a front camera here, a status LED, the phone call receiver, and some sensors which are barely visible. We have a large screen, and below the screen the usual touch keys, which are back illuminated for menu, home and back. Looking at the sides, we see that this one isn't made from metal, but that's not bad at all, because plastic or polycarbonate doesn't mean cheap, and that's the case here as well. This is a very high quality material, very high build quality, no large gaps or moving parts. Really tough as well. I don't have anything to complain about regarding build quality here. So let's have a look around the sides of the phone. On the left side, we see nothing. On the bottom we find the voice microphone for phone calls and the micro USB port with OTG support. And here's a little gap to remove the back cover, which by the way is going very easy, as I will show you soon. On the right side we see the on-off switch and the volume rocker, and those buttons are really thin, they don't move, feel really nice, I like that, and they also look nice. And on the top side we find the 3.5mm headphone jack and another microphone, which is giving us stereo sound together with the other microphone when doing video recordings. The rear is slightly curved, but just a little bit, so it doesn't move a lot when laying it on the table. We also see the rear camera here and the dual LED flash, which unfortunately isn't a dual tone flash. At least I think so, but still very bright. And also we have a Jiayu logo and the opening for the media speaker. So let's pull the rear cover off, and I told you this is going very easy, yet it still holds on strongly. This alone is a proof for the high build quality of the phone. Because usually you have to bend the cover heavily to get it off, and it's doing strange noises then. That's not the case here, and it also is going on very easy again. And here again, after removing the back cover, we see how nice this phone is built. This looks very, very clean, not as cheap as with most other Chinese phones. It looks like all is being made from one part, and look at that, we even have LDS antennas here, which means those are 3D printed, making up for a very good reception quality. As you can see, we have a micro SD card slot here, a micro SIM card slot over there, and another micro SIM card slot over there. The huge battery, which can of course be replaced like we are used to from Jiayu phones, except the G6. And also stereo speakers are present, which look very similar to the Oppo Find 7, but unfortunately don't have anything in common with those. So after we had a look at the design, we are moving on to the next chapter, which obviously is screen quality. And every one of you who knows Jiayu knows that they always feature very good screens with their phones. They never did a single mistake here, and that's the case here as well. This 1080p 5.5-inch panel just looks gorgeous. Amazing colors, a little on the warm side, but still natural color reproduction, and looks perfectly fine. Everything is crisp and sharp, just how I like it. Pixels aren't visible at all with the naked eye. You really need to take a macro shot with the camera to see them. And also the viewing angles are very good. And the screen brightness of course is as well, so you won't have any trouble when being outside. What I also loved, maybe even more than the screen itself, is the touch panel. This is so slippery. The finger glides on it like a charm, which makes it a pleasure to use. It's probably the most slick surface I've ever experienced with a Chinese phone. Really good build quality going on here, really love that. And this phone also features Gorilla Glass 3, which means that it's very scratch proof. I used it the entire time without any screen protector, and I have no scratches on it at all, even though it had a little met up with my keys in the pocket once. Regarding the software, you probably are used to from Jiayu phones that they don't feature such a nice software. It's mostly bug-free, yes, but it doesn't look all that nice. That has been changed a lot now. This ROM does actually look very nice, and it's kind of a mix-up between MIUI, stock or vanilla Android, and ColorOS. As you can see, the launcher icons are slightly rounded like in MIUI, yet we still have an up drawer, which is similar to a stock Android. And if we look into the settings, we notice that this is looking like ColorOS. Look at the switches, look at the category tabs on top of there. This is all very similar. Regarding performance, Jiayu did also a very, very good job. Everything is snappy and fluent. I really like the performance of the operating system. The only thing which they really need to improve is the performance of the 3D driver, which is slightly buggy in my opinion, because sometimes you get a little lags in 3D games, which isn't up to the SoC, because this one is extremely powerful. And you also notice that in benchmark applications which use the GPU to measure performance of the phone, because those score slightly lower than they are supposed to score. This is especially noticeable in the Anomaly 2 benchmark, which only scores 200,000 points, while for example a Duchi F1 with MT6752, which is the entry-level Mediatek SoC, reaches 500,000 points, of course at QHD resolution, but still this should be a lot higher than it is here. Other bugs aren't present. There are some slight incompatibility issues with games that Trigger 2 isn't running on here, but that's, as I said in the previous reviews, the case with all Mediatek 64-bit SoCs at the moment. It seems that the game developer needs to fix something there, or Mediatek themselves, but I'm pretty sure this will be done in the future, so don't worry about that. Regarding special features of the OS, there isn't much to tell. The only thing Jiayu did throw in here is a little quick settings control, which you can open up inside applications by swiping from the bottom screen to the upper up. And then you will see this panel where you can control the backlight intensity, switch it to automatical backlight control. You can turn Wi-Fi on off, data on off, GPS on off, Bluetooth on off, and you also can lock the screen rotation. Other features that have been thrown in here are gestures, so you can swipe with your hands above the screen to, for example, scroll through pictures in the image gallery, which is working like a charm, also within a decent distance and within both directions. And we also have the usual off-screen gestures like double tap to wake or draw a C to open up application X or something. So that's pretty nice ROM, no bloatware on there, nothing that you don't really need. I really like that. What I didn't like at all is media playback on this phone, or media playback through the internal speaker. Stereo speakers promise a decent audio quality, and also within this price range, this phone is priced, depending on where you buy it. From China it's 180 euros or a bit above 200 bucks, and from Germany or inside the EU it's going around 240 euros. And you would expect a decent audio quality from the internal speakers here, which sadly isn't the case. There are no basses at all. They don't overdrive, which is definitely a pro, but they aren't that loud. The mids and heights are not like I wish them to be. The audio picture seems kinda blurred to me. Now this can be improved a little by installing Viper for Android, which needs root access, which you can actually enable in the security settings of this ROM, which is a pro as well. But it doesn't improve bass playback, so there are no basses, which means that the audio picture sounds kinda boring. Luckily, for the 3.5mm headphone jack, this isn't the case. So, well, with headphones you will still be able to enjoy a good audio quality, but the internal media speaker unfortunately sucks here. I will give you a little demo about that now. Something very nice about the Jiayu S3 is reception quality. I told you in the beginning that this phone actually does support or does feature LDS antennas, and those make up for a decent reception quality. And let me tell you, reception quality of the Jiayu S3 actually is on high-end level. If I compare that, for example, to the Meizu MX4 or the Vivo X-Shot, for example, there isn't any difference at all. Wi-Fi signal strength is as high as it can be. There isn't any way it could be better. 3G, 2G, even LTE is working perfectly fine. And as a real plus, this phone does support FDD LTE at 800 MHz, which many Chinese phones are lacking these days. But this does support it, so it will work across whole Europe within all carrier networks. So that's definitely another pro here. What also impressed me is GPS performance. Mediatek really did a very, very good job with those new SoCs. They are really on par with Snapdragon SoCs or SoCs from Samsung or Huawei. Those old issues you knew from previous Mediatek generation chipsets don't exist anymore. It's really that simple. The only thing I have to complain is that a little software bug here makes the fix times a little bad. It takes around 30 seconds to get a fix, but that's not up to the SoC. That's some software issue, but I'm pretty sure this will be fixed as well in the future. Else, GPS is working perfectly fine. As you can see here, we have an accuracy of 1 meters, a fix for 14 satellites, 19 in view, and that's actually not the best fix I've ever got. My record was like 23 satellites, so this one does support GLONASS and all that stuff, so you really are fine with this one. Great navigation performance, great tracking performance. I did a little tracking here, and as you can see, it's perfectly on the road. Very accurate. I really love GPS with those new Mediatek SoCs. Another important part about the Jiayu S3 is the camera of the phone, as Jiayu is advertising it to be a Sony IMX214 sensor. Now a lot of people make the mistake and expect the same camera like for example in the Oppo Find 7, which also features a Sony IMX214 based camera. But that's actually not the case. The sensor is just the sensor and doesn't say anything about the camera module. So actually the Jiayu S3 doesn't support OIS, optical image stabilization, and also has different lenses like the Oppo Find 7. So you can't compare the camera performance of the Oppo Find 7 and the Jiayu S3. This is a totally different camera, just the sensor is the same, and picture quality also depends a lot on the software side. Now let me tell you, for everyday use under daylight, this camera does really an amazing job. Perfect color reproduction, sharp images, almost instant shutter. If I tap on here, it takes a picture immediately. If it doesn't use the LED flash, it would be just under a second, a few milliseconds, and you have your picture, which is of a great advantage when shooting objects that are actually moving. But the camera also has a few minor issues. First of all, with the LED flash, the focus has some bug. If you use the LED flash, it doesn't focus properly, so you actually have not the sharpness you would like to have in pictures that have been taken with the LED flash. It's nothing overly bad, but you definitely notice that, and I hope they will fix that in the future. Also, what I dislike is video quality, at least with the stock ROM. There seems some issue going on with anti-aliasing. Videos look awful sometimes, especially on the edges of objects or something. That's not that nice, especially because the audio quality is amazing on this phone when doing video shots, and that would be amazing video camera, to be honest with you. So I really hope they will fix that so that you can enjoy the full potential of this camera, which really is great. The front camera didn't impress me so much. It's only a 5 megapixel camera, which doesn't say much about the picture quality, but the quality just isn't as good as I would like it to be. It doesn't have autofocus, and pictures don't get very sharp. They also get a little noisy in darker environments. So in the end, the camera is mostly usable for video chatting, but not really for selfies and such stuff. Another very important part about the Jiayu S3, of course, is battery life, as the 3100 milliamps sound rather promising. And let me tell you, battery life really is quite impressive here. Mediatek chipsets are really power saving these days with the 64-bit architecture and their new mirror vision technology, which is enhancing not only image quality but also the screen brightness to the screen contents and the environment you're moving in. So you always have the best screen brightness setting, which is saving a lot of energy. And also the architecture seems to be much more power saving than ever before. And you really get some great battery life out of this. Look at this. This is the screen on time you can reach, and that's under load, not idle. So almost 7 hours is quite impressive for a 5.5-inch Full HD phablet in my opinion. And that translates to about 1.5 days of use for me. I am a power user, I say that once again. So for you it might last 2 or 3 days. And I think that's quite impressive considering that with the Elephone P5000, which actually has a 5350 milliamps battery, I also reached just 2 days. So that comes pretty close and tells you what you can expect from future battery monsters featuring the new Mediatek 64-bit SoCs. So there's really a lot of amazing stuff going on, and battery life probably will never be an issue anymore with Chinese phones like it used to be. There's something I dislike though, and that's the charging time. Unfortunately, Jiayu forgot to implement fast charging with this one. Yes, of course, fast charging isn't all that good for batteries, but to be honest with you, if I can replace a battery cell and they don't cost much, just about 9 to 12 euros or something, I'm fine with that. So I really would have liked to have fast charging going on here, and unfortunately that's not the case. So charging takes up to 4 hours, which is really a pain in the ass in my opinion. And that's something I really dislike about this phone. So my final conclusion about the Jiayu S3, it's a very solid phone. Jiayu phones get better from every time, and that's the case here as well. Great build quality, great simple yet elegant design, gorgeous panel, great touch panel, amazing performance with the new Mediatek SoC, camera is good, reception quality is outstanding. So the only real downside of the phone, besides the time it takes to charge the battery, is the audio quality of the internal media speaker, but else I really don't have anything to complain about, and this is a very good phone in my opinion. And for a phablet, it is also pretty small, let me tell you that. I have the Uniphone B Pro here, and just compare sizes. Both are 5.5 inch devices, but the Jiayu S3 is actually a lot smaller. Let me align those edges here, so you see quite a difference in size here. That's very interesting. So it's a compact phone as well. So if you like this phone, go for it. It's a very good phone, very good performing, and especially at this price, you can't do much wrong with this handset. So that's it for my review of the Jiayu S3. I hope you liked this video. I hope it was helpful for you. If it was, I would of course appreciate a thumbs up, a subscription to the channel, maybe even a little comment. If you like in general what we are doing at GizChina Germany and GizChina.com, make sure to hit our social media sites on Facebook, Twitter and Google+, and drop a like or follow us. Thanks again for watching. You will now receive a performance demo of this phone, and I say bye bye, see you with the next review.